You're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, with 40 days to go to the December 7 elections, concerns have been raised about the conduct of traditional leaders in this election season. Earlier this month, we analyzed the implications of chiefs endorsing presidential candidates. Today, we look at whether or not these rulers are truly acting with the best interest of their people at heart. Particularly in this season, are traditional rulers taking full advantage of the courtesy calls presidential candidates pay them to stress on issues plaguing their communities, or they also are getting caught up in the euphoria by endorsing these candidates, even to the extent that the National House of Chiefs has strongly criticized this act on 2 occasions. Well, speaking of endorsements, let's quickly recap the number of endorsements the presidential candidates for the NDC and the MPP have obtained in the past months. Let's begin with the endorsements of the President, John Mahama. Asantehene of Yejinana Pemapem Yao Kagrese endorsed the president on the 4th of October 2016. The Asantehene doubles as the president also of the Bunafu Regional House of Chiefs. Chief of Basa, Nana Osusechi III in the Bunafu region, also endorsed the president. He spoke during the president's campaign tour of the Bunafu region. The chief of Odumase #1, Nana Kwesi Yeboah, also endorsed the president. Nana Safo Atara II, the Asantehene of the Dodo traditional area in the Volta region, endorsed President John Mahama. Now, for the MPP's Nana Akufo-Addo, the flag bearer, the paramount chief of the Tumu traditional area in the Upper West region, Koro Richard Babeni Canton VI, endorsed him. The chief of Tiobodom in the Bunafu region, Nana Obeng Berima II, also endorsed the MPP flag bearer. Chief of Garu Naba Asuguru Akuntamwene in the Upper East region spent some time to endorse Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. The chief of Boko Naba Asigri Azoka Abogrago II from the Upper East region also endorsed Nana Akufo-Addo. We may have spent time on this thorny conversation from last week, but the rule of the Asante Kingdom has rekindled the discussion with a different spice. Asantehene Otunfoɔ II has asked chiefs who wish to lend their support to either the President John Mahama or Nana Akufo-Addo to first abdicate their stools or desist from such acts. Now, this, he says, weakens the institution of chieftaincy. He didn't end there. He proceeded then to mention tough sanctions, especially for those chiefs who owe allegiance to his stool.
The provision calling for political parties to have offices in 2/3 of districts, and a provision for the filing of audited accounts annually and the submission of expenditure returns 6 months after general elections and after by-elections. Na womun kunta boni account ne yen famra mu ne hwes babia sika no yenya no free na base womun so ayen.
Well, we'll bring you that video of Otunfoɔ in just a moment, but we also know that in this discussion we've had a first discussion here on this show about the issue of chiefs in politics and their issue of endorsement. In fact, we spoke to a chief here on the show who made it clear that chiefs are also human beings. They have views to share. If he is one who supports the MPP, for instance, why can't he openly say so? He's a human being. He has a vote. He can share his views. Well, let's explore this matter a bit more. We can speak to Dr. Obri Yeboah. He spent some time when it comes to the matters of chieftaincy. He has a fair understanding and expertise in that field. Let's pick his thoughts on this matter. Thank you, Dr. Obri Yeboah, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Right, so we've had the calls coming thick and fast. Chiefs, stop endorsing presidential candidates or even those who seek the office of the presidency. Do you see this practice ending anytime soon?
Please speak aloud. I don't hear you.
Okay, I'm asking whether, in view of all the calls for chiefs to stop endorsing politicians, whether that is feasible. Can it work? Can we see that stop?
Well, I think the chiefs are in a dilemma. You see, the politics we have today has reduced them to government agents lobbying for amenities for their people, because the people are demanding amenities which can only be provided by presidents and their governments. They hold the purse. So your survival in your area depends on how best you can lobby anybody who has a purse to provide social amenities for them. That's why they have been praise singing and endorsing the presidential aspirants.
I get that, sir, but do you necessarily have to, as it were, ask your people to vote for that person in order to get what you need in your community?
Well, you see, it's not easy. I don't think the president has all the money to provide for everybody. You have to, it depends on how best you can be in the good books of this. It's not a good thing anyway, but since the beginning of colonialism, that has been the trend. It has its antecedents. Chiefs who supported opposition, they are denied all these social amenities, and we even had some chiefs being demoted by presidents in Ghana. It has happened before, and the chieftaincy institution today is almost like an agency of the state or the government. It's the government that funds it. So if they don't praise the government, they'll be denied resources. And the chiefs don't collect taxes for development. So I'm saying they're in a dilemma.
Okay.
To be partisan, to be non-partisan.
It's interesting what you say. Then what then becomes of a call by the Asantehene, for instance, Otunfosu II, who says, for any of these chiefs who owes allegiance to his stool, if you do this, you will find yourself in trouble. Is this something that the chiefs can look at and say, okay, we're stopping this? Or this is just something that they can easily say, we just might not, bow to this directive by the Asantehene?
Well, I'll be surprised if any of them would just say, I belong to this party. But Nicodemously, I'm using Nicodemously euphemistically. They go underground and do their thing. But openly, they may decide not to be part. But we see them defying the orders of chieftaincy institution, the House of Chiefs. If the House of Chiefs cannot manage their own people, they are supported by God, they give them big cars and all that. And I understand some persons. You see, so it's a very difficult situation.
So
we
what then
cannot
becomes
just
of
give
that
everybody
institution?
social amenities. So you have to lobby. That's how I see it.
Interesting. So what then becomes of the power and respect given to chiefs in these areas? There was a reason for which in the Constitution it was made clear that they should not be engaged in partisan politics. This is where we are now.
Yes, unfortunately, for doing that, our chiefs have lost their dignity and respect. They have lost it. And it's not today. From the day they lost their powers to the colonial master and gave out our gold and took mirror. That was the beginning. So it has continued. There is a colonial legacy which is happening today.
So as these candidates go from one region to the next, meeting these chiefs and wishing for their support, are you also surprised by they taking the goodies and not asking key questions of what they will do realistically to fix their problems?
Well, you see, if you look at the chieftaincy institution, the structure of the institution, it is so structured that you get to a large number of people who owe allegiance to the stool, and it's good for mobilization. And that's why they don't go any other place but to the chief. Don't look at the personality, but the structure is well represented, and they take decision by consensus. And some people, psychologically, are just waiting their conformance. So if you have all these principles, some people believe they achieve that any time you say, let's go left, they all go left. It's part of human behavior. You see, and everybody, as I said, is looking for development. So if my chief can lobby, I'm in the books of who will win. You see, some are not sure. So we just have to endorse and gamble. You see, we must be fair to everybody.
Now, here's the part that worries me, Doc. You say that the institution of chieftaincy has virtually lost its power. But what then happens? Because there was a reason for which in the Constitution they were asked to stay out of this. When things go bad...
We wanted to preserve the institution as a non-partisan institution because the chieftaincy institution embraces all. You see, and by their structure, everybody belongs to it. You see, the non-partisanship is inbuilt, and once we select one gate to be the leader, everybody rallies around it, and they don't have opposition and government in power in chieftaincy. It's inbuilt, and they take decision by consensus. But partisan politics has divided the chieftaincy institution. You see, because the people are looking up to them to provide development, but they don't hold the purse. So development is being fronted in front of them. So they tend to purpose.
Okay.
That's the situation.
So with their very unique position in our society today, how do we restore the institution you say has lost its power and bite like it used to?
Well, it is right because our chiefs should reorganize themselves and find a better message to give to anybody who visits them. We cannot stop visiting a chief, but we should find how best we can craft our messages to those who visit, and not to just play partisan politics, to even divide themselves. It will affect the respect they have from their own people, you see, and they cannot hold anybody accountable. But we should make sure that they are well integrated into the district assembly concept. You see, they should not be seen as government agents or representing government. There must be a budget for the institution. Every village, every constituency, if there's any paramount chief there, must be budget. They don't have budget. They don't take taxes. You see, so they are so fragile and frail. They have to just pray sing to anybody who fronts development in front of them.
So, Doc, who leads this charge of restoring the institution?
Yes. Hello?
Doc, I'm asking that you say that these steps should be taken. Who should lead that charge?
There is the House of Chiefs. Must reorganize themselves. We have a very strong House of Chiefs, professors and researchers. Professor Nabila and others are out there. The Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs. They should go back pre-colonialism and see how chieftaincy was organized. Very vibrant, independent, and managing themselves. But with the partisan powers, I said, even the ministry is funded by the state. And they are given a budget allocation and all that for government work. You see? So let's make them independent. Let's make sure they develop their own places without government interference. We must ensure that district assemblies work well. Nobody can come and deceive you with just a bottle of water or television or radio set, and then you tell all your people to vote for the person.
Is that what has been happening? Radio sets and something just to buy their votes?
Hello?
Doc, you just made a point that I wanted clarity on. You said that.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for your time today.
Dr.
Oriabua has some level of expertise when it comes to issues of chieftaincy, sharing his thoughts with us. He says the institution of chieftaincy is virtually dead, and they lost that power and that right when the colonial era came around and they traded our resources for, in his words, a mirror.